All right, here we go. Let's go. All right, we got another episode of the Bleacher Preachers podcast going coming at you. This is Alex, broadcasting from the 702.
Cool. This is Jonathan live from Oceanside. Woo!
Woo!
Well, Alex, it's been, I think we last talked about hockey in September. Things have happened. It's the All-Star break, the quote-unquote halfway point. There's still the trade deadline coming up here, but we've already seen a few transactions happen up to this point. We've seen a couple coaches get fired. We've also seen one GM get fired. So we'll try and unpack some things as we go along here. So let's start in the Pacific Division. The Edmonton Oilers, who are led by Connor McDavid, the second coming of hockey, like just everything. Many consider to be one of the best pure talents since Wayne Gretzky, has been stuck on a dysfunctional team run by former GM Peter Chiarelli. Peter Chiarelli was fired early last week, and it's been a long time coming. He's made very, very lopsided trades and acquisitions that have been detrimental to the Edmonton Oilers, most highlighted by Taylor Hall, the league's reigning MVP, getting traded last season for Adam Larson, who hasn't really shown the same amount of return you'd expect from a player that was the MVP of the NHL last year. Not to mention the botching of some draft picks that actually led to them missing out on getting a Matthew Barzal, who actually is leading the first place Islanders. That comes later. But long story short, Alex, this is like when you're on a franchise mode in one of the NHL video games and you're just throwing it at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, no, that's totally spot on. I will have to say that the Oilers have had a very disappointing 18 months. Yes, I'm counting last season. And yeah, I mean, if we're looking at it, if we're being 100% transparent, Connor McDavid's teams, quote unquote, should not be performing this way. I mean, they're just not playing up to snuff. And now that, yeah, I mean, you can blame that on the GM as to an extent, but the product you put on the ice, they've got to be able to perform anyway. Now, granted, I think you and me can both agree that Peter Chiarelli is a D GM at this point in time. I mean, just the stuff he did in Boston, the stuff he did in Edmonton, just makes you scratch your head. But yeah, you're completely right. I mean, how do you give up Taylor Hall? Yes, the reigning MVP. How do you give up? How do you sign Milan Lucic to a contract that at this day and age Milan probably shouldn't be getting, if we're being honest? And just yeah, there's just a bunch of head scratchers. I mean, yeah, like I said, Leon Draisaitl also hasn't been healthy in quite a while. This is the first time we've really seen him healthy, and he's honestly probably their second best player after Connor McDavid. So that is a thing. But also, again, look at the product on the ice. Cam Talbot is just not also performing the way that he should be, and you just re-signed what's his big tall mother of God guy? What's his name?
No, I know what you're talking about. They gave a goalie who had only started like 13 games, like, oh, hey, here's another 3 years.
Yeah, they literally were just like, here you go, take this money and run with it, because what's the why? Just why? And so yeah, I mean, Mikko Koskinen, that's his name. But again, it just makes absolutely no sense. Koskinen's freaking 30 already. What are you doing?
It's funny how fast that comes up.
Yeah, so who knows? I don't know. But yeah, this Peter Chiarelli, thank God he's gone. And
well, think of it like this: when did the Sharks play the Oilers in the playoffs? 2016.
Yeah, 2016.
2016, and for the most part, that's the same general grouping.
Yeah, no,
they never got better.
They're arguably exactly the same. I mean,
no, they're worse.
Yeah, you've got your bottom guys that go in and out, but dude, you gave a 30-year-old goalie 4.5 AAV. The hell's wrong with you, Peter?
A lot. Needless to say, Edmonton, you have Connor McDavid for the foreseeable future. That's fine, but don't make this any worse than it already has been. Everyone just needs to stop what they're doing, turn to the guy to their left, and pull that head out of their ass. Like, that's just being nice about it.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. I mean, that's the thing is like, no matter look, let's be completely honest. No matter what your GM says or anything or whatever you do, like, okay, I'll even compare it this way. Ottawa's team this year should not be performing the way that it is, but they're putting a product on the ice that is formidable. I'm going to put it that way. It's competitive. And like, that's the thing, is that Ottawa isn't as bad as people thought they were going to be.
I mean, not as bad, but you actually have to give credit to the effort that's on the ice. I mean, these are all guys who are essentially playing for their next job, playing for the next contract. So, I mean, yeah, you have minimal expectations, but it's still good to see them follow through on it, including you, Matt Duchene.
Yeah, I mean, and Thomas Chabot has emerged as the guy that's formidable on the blue line. So you can't really even take that away from them. Yes, they're in last place, but we didn't expect them to be in.
It's a competitive last place.
Exactly. Like I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. They probably, I mean, they may not end in last place, considering if you look at where our boy what is it, where Detroit is. So who knows? But yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying is you know, you've got to perform when and I think that's really Edmonton's issue, is that they just haven't been able to put together a solid group. And I'm not blaming Peter Chiarelli for that, because he did make questionable decisions, but you've got to perform when you put out there.
You are correct, sir. So let's go to the other side of Alberta. The first place. That's just weird to say. The first place Calgary Flames. Right now, 71 points in the Pacific Division. Wow.
Playing at a place that looks like a horseback saddle.
It's the Saddle Dome, which I believe not too long ago was severely flooded, and there was questions about the structural integrity of the building. But here they are in first place in late January. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, much to my chagrin, I'll be honest with you. You know, I definitely did want to see the Sharks the way they've been playing in the last 2 months up there, but Calgary deserves it. I mean, we're being completely honest. I mean, Gaudreau is on another level when it comes to what would you say he has 29 goals and 44 assists?
Yeah, I believe he's at 71 points right now, which, you know, he's always been he's been an extremely good goal scorer. There's never been a doubt about his ability to put the puck in the net, but it's this year he's actually been able to put it more together, and it's actually kind of paid off finally, because usually Calgary is the team that they can, you know, put goals in, but they can't stop the puck from going in the net. And to see him in first place right now is actually quite surprising.
It's surprising, but well deserved by that Calgary team. Yeah, I don't think
73 points. 73 points. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think their goaltending has been much better. I mean, their goalie is what, David Rittich?
It's him and Mike Smith, and I believe Mike Smith does get a majority of the starts, but it's not top tier level goaltending.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Smith. Yeah, 3 years ago I'd say was a lot better. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking here. Rittich has played in 30 games, and he's got a 2.47 goals against average. Mike Smith has played 25 games, has a 3.04 goals against average with a 908 save percentage, and then let's see, Rittich has a 918. So I mean, above average, but I mean, those guys are kind of splitting right down the middle. I don't think there's really a defined starter there if you're looking at those numbers. But yeah, I mean, hey, their offense is getting it together, and then you know, good. I mean, again, Calgary kind of coming out of nowhere this year. I wouldn't even say coming out of nowhere because the team's solid. But I think one thing that really surprised me that you said earlier, when we were kind of just talking about this, is the cliff James Neal fell off of.
He did expect to get a nice little payday in free agency, but much to the surprise of some players, teams aren't willing to shell out for past performances in the NHL, especially with the way speed and skill is changing today's game. So when James Neal does decide to walk away from the Golden Knights, he does get a pretty modest contract from the Flames, but right now, 12 points after 45 plus games played, that's a tough look of it right now. But probably the favorite move of mine from Calgary was bringing Noah Hannafin in, the defense.
Boston native Noah Hannafin.
Bringing in Noah Hannafin and kicking out Dougie Hamilton, who has been a bona fide softie since Boston.
Yep, true. Fun fact about David Rittich. Birthplace was Czechoslovakia, which isn't even a country anymore.
He was born in a place that doesn't even exist.
Hey, I'm just saying. Good for him. He's probably the only. Yep, he is the only. No, never mind. Michael Frolik, also born in Czechoslovakia.
Just to kind of wrap things up on the Flames, what percentage odds do you give them to finish the season in first place in the Pacific?
I give him above 50%. I'm going to say 70. Just because they've had a really good solid start of the season. I mean, the Sharks have 65 points, and they're still six points out of even touching first place. So I'm going to give them 70%. I mean, think about it this way: they go 500 down the end of down the stretch. They still end above 100 points, and that's an achievement win in and of itself in the NHL. So, yeah, I'm gonna say 100. I'm gonna say 70%.
All right, and well, let's look at the rest of the Pacific. The two teams behind Calgary is the San Jose Sharks and the Vegas Golden Knights. Both teams right now have 29 wins in regulation, separated by a couple of regulation losses and overtime and shootout losses. So still a lot to be sorted out there. Just looking down the stretch run here, Alex, this has been kind of a, trial by fire core almost with the, superstar talent on the Sharks to, those bottom six meddling guys. What needs to happen down the stretch for the Sharks to kind of pull it all together here so they're not, facing another frustrating, playoff exit again?
I think first and foremost, you need to solidify that bottom six. So one name that, if you're a Sharks fan and you've kind of heard in and out of the lineup, is Lucas Radil and Antti Suomela. Guys like that are kind of back and forth between the Barracuda and the Sharks. I think that's really the biggest thing here is like we need to solidify that bottom six. The top six doesn't change. You've still got Hurdle, Couture, Pavelski, Thornton, Kane, or in a mix of Donskoy, LeBanc, Meyer. I mean, you've got those guys up top that are going to be solid. It's really that third and fourth line where I think Doug Wilson probably looks to improve before the trade deadline is up. The blue line, as long as everyone stays healthy. I'm looking at you, Erik Karlsson. I don't know what was happening to you the last week. Really is absolutely not a problem. And I think really, I know this is kind of looking towards the future, but we need to make sure that Erik Karlsson stays in San Jose. I mean, giving up a first and a couple of players, Ottawa, for Erik Karlsson in the long run, if he resigns, looks like a gold mine. But if you don't resign him, you're left with a big hole on the blue line where arguably Erik Karlsson's been our best player for the last 2.5 months.
And it's not even just the individual production; it's how he's going to make the forwards in front of him and his defensive partner just as good, if not better. So, Yeah, I would, obviously I'm not going to agree with you with it being your team, but just from an outsider's perspective is can they play balanced enough and not have to make every game into a shootout?
Mm-hmm.
Can you at least hold the team to, 2, 3 goals before the third period, at least give yourself a little bit of operating room and try and make Martin Jones's job a little bit easier. I mean, he's already not a top tier goaltender, and
Mm-hmm.
he's going to need as much help as he can get. Not saying he is a liability, but it's just not. It's just not what he's built for. He's more of a goalie that needs to play with the lead than not hang on to a lead. That's
Yeah.
what you mean, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at his regular season numbers so far, I mean, .895 save percentage. That's not really what you want out of your number one goalie. So yeah, questionable at best. But whereas like last year in 2017, Aaron Dell, we kind of were like, oh, he's a safety blanket. He feels nice and comfy. He's not much better. He's got a .891 save percentage. So in that sense, our goaltending is definitely a hole. But the thing is that this seems invested into Martin Jones and also Aaron Dell. So it's not like those guys are going anywhere. They're not getting traded. They're not getting sent down or anything like that. So that's really the biggest question here is, yeah, can our goaltending goaltend?
Goalie's got a goalie. Well, I don't know if the Sharks have any resources left to spend or do anything at the trade deadline, but I would, like I just said, it's like let's kind of work with what you got and then go from there. Cool.
I mean, if anything, we bring up Antoine Bibeau from the Barracuda. Thanks, Toronto, for coughing that guy up. But I don't really want to see him in the NHL. He can stay in the Barracuda, playing in that weird Barracuda logo jersey thing.
We'll get to the Leafs there in a little bit, but let's just kind of wrap up the Pacific here. Everybody's favorite cheerleaders, the Golden Knights, after a bit of a slow start, finally got their act together, playing the way they should. Right now the Knights' biggest problem is just having all the players that need to be healthy. It's like one guy gets in the lineup, another guy heads out. You finally get back, and someone turns around, heads right back out of it.
They're still missing Okay, so their injury list is Carrier, Riley Smith, Malcolm Subban because they brought up Dansk Revolution, Colin Miller, Theodore's back, but Howla's still out, and then
I don't think Howla, they won't put him out for the season yet, but I don't think he's expected back until maybe playoff time, but that could be a timetable that switches around again.
And then Eakin's in the roster, so yeah. He's fine. But yeah, that's really the one thing that kind of is nuts about it is that they're competing pretty well with. Let's see, hold on a second. I'm going to tell you right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 centers on this roster.
They almost play positionless hockey, and that what makes them so fun to watch is because these guys are just like they literally will fly up and down the ice, and everyone's finding the right spot to be in, which is a credit to Gerard Gallant. So, hat tip to him. But it's the next man up.
We got a Russian on this team. Thank you, Valentin Zykov.
The Russian that actually wanted to stay.
Yep.
The only thing that does scare me, though, is if Marc-Andre Fleury does go down for an extended period of time this year, or now in this part of the season, that's when things might get a little sketchy.
Yeah, that's really the one thing. I mean, Marc-Andre Fleury is,
and they really can't afford to really rest him down the stretch because the Pacific's still a tight race, and Vegas right now sitting 9 points back of Calgary. You don't want to necessarily leave it up to chance almost.
No, you're completely right. I mean, if you're looking at the way, at his last couple of games or just his season overall, still completely killing it with a 911 save percentage, and yeah, but he's playing a lot, and that's really the biggest thing. I mean, right now he's on pace to play 75 games in an 82 game season. That's a shit ton of hockey, considering you also made it to the Stanley Cup last year.
It's not even like you just said the amount of hockey. He's. This is just the benefits and also the frustrations of Marc-Andre Fleury is you will get great games, you'll get great saves that really aren't great saves, but I'm trying to be nice to him. It's almost where you become too reliant on him to steal you games. And then when, a game that was like, say, 2-1 in the second period, oh crap, now it's, 3-0 or 4-1 because missed like one or two saves he maybe could have had.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be quite honest about the Golden Knights blue line. Not saying that they're the only guys on the ice that can defend, but I mean, who's their best defender? Nate Schmidt? Questionable?
Oh yeah, there is Nate Schmidt, who really hasn't stood out to me too much this year.
Yeah, I mean, missed a couple of games, but I mean, like Schmidt isn't even really there. I mean, one, he's not their biggest defender, which you kind of want your defenders to be a little bit bigger. But that's what I'm saying is like Nate Schmidt is right now I'd have to say is their best defender. But I mean, that role changes really on a nightly basis with this team, and that's okay. That's what Gaunt wants.
Players knowing their roles and executing their job. They're doing their jobs.
Yes, and John's very familiar with people who do their jobs.
Do your job. All right, but right now, like I said, they're doing fine. They're playing good hockey right now. It's just that you have two pretty good teams in front of you. I don't see too much of a threat from the rest of the Pacific. I mean, Vancouver is close to you at 10 points back, but that's a team of overachieving rookies and veteran busts. So I think they'll be okay. The Kings just sent out Jake Muzzin today to the Leafs. So
cue the Kings fire sale.
They've all but, waved the white flag, which I think this is waving the white flag. And then with Anaheim and Arizona having their own issues, Vegas will, get one of those playoff spots. It's just now what's going to happen with the rest of the NHL.
Those players in Ontario, get ready to get called up right now because no one is safe.
Ontario, California of the Inland Empire, not Ontario, the province of Canada.
Yes, the Ontario Reign, which is still a very weird name to me because what does that mean?
Well, the Reign, like the reign of royalty, REINGN.
Again, what does that mean? That's not a team. That's a thing.
Is it worse than the Barracuda?
The Barracuda is at least an animal.
But that's the thing. The Barracuda, goes in line with the shark. But then you have the Kings and the Reign. A king reigns.
Okay, but the Kings are like a kings are a person. A reign is like a concept. You can't physically touch a reign. You can physically touch a king if you wanted to.
Save that for a later day. The Central Division, the Winnipeg Jets and the Nashville Predators tied right now for first at 64 points apiece. Those are two teams that are going to be contenders here towards the end of the season. Nashville did get to finish up their first half with a pretty convincing win at Vegas with the backup goalie. I'm going to butcher his name when I say this, so I'll just call him Yari.
Gross?
There you go. Thank you. I was trying to think, like, how do I pronounce it? But this is just a typical Nashville season. Let's just play defense, get a couple goals, and then lock down from there on out.
Yeah, no, that's a par for the course with this team.
So it's funny I bring this up because you have the two teams in the Central at 64 points, tied for first. If the Sharks are in that division, they're in first. Then you have the Knights right there at 62. So in the West, you only have 5 teams right now above 50 points. Everyone else is kind of like stuck in this like mid to low 50 range. So a lot to still be decided in the West, Alex.
Completely agree. I will say I will say, I believe it was. Oh man, it wasn't Arvidsson. Was it Kevin Fiala? No, it wasn't that guy. Whoever it was that scored the spinorama backhanded goal. God bless you, because you literally compelled me to become a hockey god after that, watching that goal.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah. I'm actually gonna watch it right now.
I can't remember who that scored.
Ooh, filthy.
I don't think it was. It wasn't Arvidsson, because I feel like I would have remembered that. And it wasn't like one of the other. It was one of the lower guys, like one of the lower, like maybe it was Yannick Weber. No,
Yannick
wasn't defensive. It was definitely a forward.
Right now, so Winnipeg's going to make it. Nashville's going to make it. Calgary, San Jose, and Vegas will make it. That leaves one playoff spot in the Central, and then 2 wild cards in the West to get in. Who you think gets in?
Okay, so in the Central, I think Colorado gets their crap together because they need to, and squeezes in that 3rd spot. After that, I mean, St. Louis and Chicago are just not good. Anaheim could put together a solid second half and take one of those wild cards, so I'm going to give one to them, and I give the last spot to Minnesota. I think Dallas misses this season, just because, that team is not performing up to snuff, I think.
Yeah, another season where Dallas, and they're like a worse version of Colorado almost. It's like, hey, we'll just build a top line and then kind of fill the blanks.
Colorado 5 years from now. That's okay. Is like Colorado is young, so that's the
thing. Okay, so let's head to the East.
The West.
We're leaving the West. In the East, the Atlantic Division, the Tampa Bay Lightning running away right now, 76 points, first in the NHL. President's Trophy, are on track to win the President's Trophy. They've just been an absolute wagon this year, moving right along. They should have been in the final last year. They very much, could have, taken care of business had it not been for the Caps getting hot at the right time. So I think they're kind of picking up where they should have left off, and it's good to see Stamkos, Kucherov, and the rest of that just nightmare of a forward terrorize defenses, because 37, 10, and 2 at the All-Star break is mean.
Ridiculous.
It's just mean. That's the best way I can put it. And I think right now, not only do they inside track to win the President's Trophy, I think they're still going to be coming out of the East here. Obviously, a lot can still happen here going into February, so I just don't see how Tampa Bay gets knocked off. Probably their biggest threat right now, though, will be the Toronto Maple Leafs. They did make a acquisition today, we did mention earlier, getting Jake Muzzin from the Los Angeles Kings, so that does give the Leafs a bit of a boost on the back end. You'll see him probably paired up with either Morgan Riley or Jake Gardner, giving them a nice solid 1-2 punch to go with the incredible forward core that they have. But just on the topic of Toronto, one thing that stood out to me about the Maple Leafs this year is not only with the high expectations they had, this was going to be the year it kind of came together with Johnny Tavares coming in. Tavares has looked great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to knock him for this one, but there have been times when Austin Matthews goes a little quiet. You don't hear from the Willie Nylanders. And probably the most frustrating right now for
John. Give Willie Nylander the benefit of the doubt. He's literally only been on the roster for like a month.
Well, that's what I was getting to. Like, I was building towards that point, but there's still a lot to kind of get, like I said, sorted out. You had the Leafs who kind of adopted this concept of, let's just load up front and just go in guns a-blazing.
Yeah, no, you're right.
They've kind of ignored the back end, and with this Muzzin trade, they're at least acknowledging, okay, maybe not let in 4 or 5 goals a game. Let's try and not rely on, the likes of a Ron Hainsey and a Nikita Zaitsev to actually, hold down our blue line.
So my biggest question here is like, is Freddie Anderson going to play every game?
It's kind of like the Marc-Andre Fleury thing. It's like you almost have to. You had like.
I mean, who's their backup goalie? Is it still Michael Hutchinson?
No, it's Garrett Sparks.
Oh, where's Michael? Is Michael Hutchinson like gone? Did he get traded?
Might be a witness protection. I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's really my biggest question. Is like, I mean, yeah,
he's played 5 games this year. He's 2-3. I mean, he hasn't been bad. He, had a shutout this year, .91 save average.
No, but I want to see where the hell he's not even on this team. I don't even know where he's at. Anyway, yeah, I mean, that's really my biggest thing here is like, is Freddie Anderson going to be able to stay healthy enough? Now, granted, he's kind of used to this because before John Gibson was in Anaheim, this is kind of what Freddie Anderson's role was. I mean, you had Ryan Miller and Freddie Anderson there, so that's okay. But on the other side, yeah, the blue line is just scary. Like after Gardner and Morgan Riley, like, and now Muzzin, which is good. You've got 3 solid guys, and you got to fill the other 3 guys with, Nikita Zaitsev. Do you decide to go Justin or Martin Manson today, or Igor Ziganov?
I don't even know what you just said.
Igor Ozhiganov. Is that him? His name?
Oh, I see that name you're looking at.
Yeah. Who's played 42 games, so he's played almost every single game.
I think that's just one of those. That's just one of those like, hey, let's, this is a guy that's been in our system. Let's trot him out there and, hope for the best. Mm-hmm. And they're playing a 37-year-old on that same blue line as well. So,
woo! Good for them. Wow. I will say I'm a little biased to this Toronto Maple Leafs team just because I want my boy Patty to finally win a cup. So if he can't win it with San Jose, that's fine. He can win it with Toronto.
Win it with the hometown team. So there come Patriots in the Atlantic Division. Montreal, again, exceeding expectations. 61 points right now.
Are they really exceeding expectations, though?
Okay. The reason I say exceeding expectations because after as rough as last season was, no one really knew what to make of this team and its makeup. They didn't really understand Claude Julien's direction at the time, but now that they've kind of retooled the roster, not rebuild, but let's swap some guys in and out here and kind of play a more balanced style of hockey. They do get Shea Weber back, or excuse me, they've had Shea Weber. Try this again. They've had Shea Weber back now to give him a more calming presence on the back end, but Thomas Tatar has been a pleasant surprise after a disappointing.
Thomas Tatar.
I want to meet that.
Right. But also the overwhelming amount of left-handed sticks here is ridiculous. Anyway, yes, you're completely right. But I mean, just because we know that this is how Montreal's explained is they're the New York Yankees of hockey. The expectation here is championship or bust every single year. Those French Canadian peeps, that's what they want. So for them to be in 3rd place is probably a little bit of a disappointment for some people. But yeah, when you've got Toronto and Tampa in front of you, you'll take it. You'll take what you can get. Let's not forget the Red Sox won 105 games, 108 games. No, 105. The Yankees won 100. So, the thing is good for Montreal. I really like this team, just the way they're built. I mean, Jonathan Duran, say what you want about him. He's good. My favorite player, Max Domi. And then, yeah, I mean, this team is okay. Again, the blue line has questions after Shea Weber and Jordy Ben, but take what you can get. And let's be honest, Carey Price is Carey Price.
And I think that's what's been kind of their saving grace is Carey Price was able to regain his elite status as one of the best goaltenders in the NHL. Just a bad year all around between injury and subpar performance, and it's good to see him bounce back because Carey Price is, he's probably one of the best goaltenders we'll see in the, of this like current grouping of goaltenders. So it's good to see him back on top. And the playoffs are always that, to go with your Yankees reference, the NHL playoffs are better when the Canadians are relevant and they're contending. I'm not calling them direct contenders yet, but they're in the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
They can get hot at the right time. Weird things happen, and then the Stanley Cup playoffs can get drunk and say, "Let's get crazy."
Heck yeah, and Kenny Agostino, my New Jersey guy. Let's keep it going, but no, I'm not rooting for this team. This team can fall off a cliff, and I wouldn't care. John, hello.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I was like, "Oh, wow."
But that's what I'm saying is like
Dark fast of Canada.
Oof. Yeah, just I'm being honest. Montreal is not my favorite. But let's talk about your team, the Boston Bruins. Yeah, the Boston Bruins. You guys still aren't healthy.
Oh no, and then that's been the it's kind of been the storyline of the season. It's just guys coming in and out of the lineup is, kind of like how we talked with the Knights. Once one guy comes back, another guy heads right out. And right now you're looking at your starting goaltender to timeline right now. It's just he's in concussion protocol. They did place him on IR. It's never easy to win when you don't have your starting goaltender, and they did sputter a little bit going into the All-Star break. And I still think there's plenty of time to kind of, get things corrected. Not saying there's an issue, but when you're starting to have, David Backes become a healthy scratch, that's when you got to kind of start looking at your roster and being like, what do we have to do to kind of jumpstart the other guys that aren't named Bergeron, Pastrnak, and Marchand? You've had good stretches from a David Krejci. You've seen DeBrusco up and down as well. Same with Ryan Donato. But, if this team can find a way to get another depth winger or someone to kind of, help take the pressure off that top line, I think they can, get back into the mix for a top 3 spot. Not saying it's bad to be in a wild card spot right now, but you don't want that first round matchup against the Tampa Bay. Like, that's just being dead honest.
Yeah, and now you've got to deal with having the goalie tandem of Halak and Zane McIntyre, a perennial Providence Bruin for quite some time. So I mean, yeah, that's okay. You'll deal with it until Tuukka comes back, but yeah, you need Tuukka in goal down the stretch. I will say very, very impressed with the way that your bottom 6 performs. I mean, I think you and me both have just complete hard-ons for Sean Corrali, and for good reason. That he shows up every single time he's out there. And so in that sense, yeah, I mean, hey, for David Backes to be a healthy scratch with the amount of NHL time that he has, it's a kick in the pants. That's really what it is. It's a kick in the pants to him. It tells him like, damn, like, my time here is limited. I need to take advantage of every chance I have. And that's what he's got to do. Other than that, I mean, really, like, defense is solid. You've got to just stay healthy. Make sure that Charlie, Torrey, Kevin, Chara, Carlo, and whoever else you decide to put in there,
Nobody
healthy.
Allowed the season. Deal.
Exactly. And then after that is just, figure out that the people that are going to fill in behind that top line. I mean, let's be real. Pastrnak, Marchand, and Bergeron are not moving from there. So you've got to just fill in behind them with, Heinen, ACR, Crazy, whoever else you can.
And then I think they do have the resources to at least explore getting an acquisition before the trade deadline on February 25th. It's not out of the question yet, but it's more so, are they going to be willing to pull that trigger? Because you do have young guys. I wouldn't be shocked if a Donato or a Jacob Forsback or Carlson is moved. And I don't know how much more, the Bruins are willing to either want to move away from packages like that, but it is possible.
Yeah, completely right. I don't know. I mean, again, I'm looking at their roster right now, so I do want to say this because I think it's cool. The only non-American defenseman you have is Zdeno Chara.
Well, and also with Big Z, I know he was another one of those guys that was missing time with the injuries. I think it, like him and Patrice both went down like within a couple days, but it's just a matter of not overworking him and kind of keeping his ice time as managed as possible. And that comes from other guys having to step up. And I'm looking at you, Charlie McAvoy.
I think the entire Boston area wants him to step up. And I think he will. I think it's just a matter of time.
Oh, without a doubt. I'm not going to worry about that one. Let's look at the biggest surprise, though, probably of the entire NHL season. The first place New York Islanders in the worst hockey building, I think, in the world.
Hey, they're only there like half the time. All right.
I know they're only there half the time, but my God, Brooklyn is terrible for hockey.
They still got that weird car in the corner. It makes no sense to me.
They lost the keys and we don't know how to move it, and I don't want to tell my boss.
Hey man, Matty Barzal and those guys are shoving the middle finger up Jenny Tavares up there in Toronto. They're kind of going like, we don't need you anyway, you scum. So hey, I'll be honest with you. I'm happy for Islanders fans. This was a long time coming. With the amount of crap they've gone through. But I mean, yeah, this team's good for them. I mean, you got Barzal, Josh Bailey. I'm happy for him.
I think, though, the credit has to go to Barry Trotz. That's a Stanley Cup winning coach. That's a guy that's won in the playoffs, and him and the Capitals going to come to an agreement to come back for this season. And I think the Islanders got probably one of the best coaches in the world, and now he's going to help mold a young core led by Matthew Barzal and become, well, right now they are a playoff team. There's no way around that. This is a good team right now. They're playing smart, fun hockey.
Yeah, and Barry Trotz is looking at the standings like he's going like, oh hey Washington, how's the view down there?
Oh, would you look at that? Oh, granted, it's only a 3-point gap, and then you have the Blue Jackets and Penguins right up there as well. But for the Islanders to be
it's a 3-point gap with Washington losing 7 straight.
Which again, we kind of went through. It's like Washington. You're allowed to not let them score 5 goals a game, right?
Yeah. So yeah, no, that's exactly what Barry Trotz and the New York Long Islanders are doing out there. They're just kind of going like, hey, we'll keep winning, you keep losing.
And I think that's what kind of makes it interesting is like, we expected the Capitals to have a little bit of a hangover, but crap, the Islanders shooting past perennial powers like the Penguins, a team that's always in the playoffs like the Blue Jackets. Now, I'm going to flip this a little bit. Shame on the Flyers, man. There's no reason this team should have 44 points with the players they have on their team. Granted, injuries do happen, but I still think they're better than what they've shown this year.
No, they're completely better. They're better. I mean, they won tonight against Winnipeg at home. So I mean, that's promising, I guess. But that's the thing is, yeah, this team should. I mean, I don't know what happened, but like, it's like people forgot like Shane Gilthusbehere is there. Like, got him.
Okay, so let's look at their full injury report. Let's see how much of a pass I'll give them. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't looked at much, if any, Flyers hockey this year. So we have.
Well, I mean, Wayne Simmons, I believe his contract is up at the end of this year.
Well, that's probably that's trade deadline guys to give a phone call on. I would love.
Yeah, Wayne Simmons. He's a trade chip if somebody really decides the amount of stuff that they have. Look at the amount of the goalies they have. I mean, look, they've got Brian Elliott, Carter Hart, Michael Neuvirth, Anthony Stolarz. You can give up someone there in order to, get something in return if that's what they want to do. But yeah, I mean, on a team with Claude Giroux and Jacob Voracek and Sean Couture, other guys that are fitting in there. Yeah, this team should not have 46 points.
And
Van Riemsdyk.
I was going to say, there's your boy JVR, and he has missed time. He has only played in 12 games, but in his 12 games, 22 points. I'm just going to put one and two together, but I wanted to see more from Nolan Patrick this year. Again, looks like only 9 games again played this year, so actually I'm going to retract that statement. What else? Claude Giroux. Oh, wow, I'm an idiot. That's not games. That's goals, Jonathan. Ha! I was looking. I'm like, none of these are adding up. Oh, that's why. So, okay, you know what? I'm going back on my original statement. Nolan Patrick, you are the 2nd overall pick from a draft last year. 17 points, man. You're better than that.
With a -3 rating.
Now that I look at everyone here, not named Jacob Voracek has taken a poop.
Yeah. Well, Claude Giroux is 14 and 30.
And this is another Colorado syndrome. Your first line of Couturier, Giroux, and Voracek. That's 52, 39, and 39 for your points. Nobody else is even above 30.
Yeah, because, I mean, that second line is probably what? Travis, however you say his last name, I can never say it right. Simmons and JVR, and they're okay. I mean, 26, 23, 22 points total. Yeah, I mean, then after that, it really kind of falls off a cliff. I mean, that's the thing is like defenders, they're okay. I mean, you've got Gotisbehere who's got 20 points, and then you got Ivan Provorov who's got 17. But yeah, after that, it kind of falls off a cliff. Robert Hagg is okay. Radko Gudas is a goon. Let's be real. You're not really getting much out of that. Christian Folin, wow. I mean, he's played in half of the game, so he's probably been a healthy scratch the other half.
I would say, historically speaking, it's always just been Philadelphia not having the goalie. They've called up the 20-year-old Carter Hart this year. Right now, he's 6-5-1 with a 2.6 goals against. Not awful, but that it just speaks to the Flyers. I can't tell you how many times they've had to deal with subpar goaltending.
Well, I mean, look at the amount of goalies. So if we're looking here, there's been 1, 2, 3, 4. There's been 7 different goalies that have played in Flyers games. It's Calvin Pickard, and Mike McKenna showed up in the game. Alex Lyon also showed up in the game. Like what? Like
it's like a game on The Price is Right. Come on down.
Come on down. Now, I will say my favorite NHL journeyman is on this team in Dale Weiss.
That's another. That's just another goon.
Yeah, but
it's not. It's Weiss. Don't give me that crap.
It's Weiss. That's how they say it.
Yeah, and they are wrong.
Okay.
Wait a minute. He's not even on this team.
Yes, he is. He just got sent down to Lehigh Valley.
Oh, that's wrong.
Oh, he got put on waivers right now. So there you go, Dale Weiss. Waivers. Bye-bye.
All right, so
hold on a second. This just blew my mind. This man signed a 4-year, $9.4 million contract with the Flyers. Philadelphia, what? Why are you paying this man this much money?
Hey, walk into the Wells Fargo Center, see if you can get yourself a deal. They apparently hand them out.
Clearly.
Last team I really kind of want to touch on in the East. They started off pretty hot. They've then cooled down a little bit, but the Buffalo Sabres right now, they are sitting in a playoff spot, tied with the Carolina Hurricanes for the last wild card. This is a team that's had the talent on paper. They just haven't been able to put it together, consistently. They're 24, 18, and 6, so they're not, by any means out of it. But if they do want to make a push for the playoffs, I think it's going to start and end with the captain, Jack Eichel.
Yeah, completely right. Also, John, the wild card spot is held by Pittsburgh.
That just goes to show you how much of a kerfuffle it is.
Yeah, but no, Buffalo does look good. I will say that I do think that oh man, why is his name escaping me? Guy that just got traded there. Jeff Skinner. Jeff Skinner looks really, really happy there. and he's been on record of saying like, "Hey, I want to stay here for a good chunk of the time." So who knows? I mean, maybe that ends up happening. But I mean, look, if you look at that team, I mean, yeah, you've got Eichel, you've got promising guys like Vladimir Sabatka, Sam Reinhart has looked good in spurts. Okposo, I know he's had his issues in the past. Pomneville, older, but still a veteran presence there. And I mean, on the line, you've got an absolute monster in Rasmus, and the other Rasmus, Ristolainen too. So I mean, you've got those guys coupled with Bogosian, and you've kind of figured out your goaltending issues with Carter Hutton. I wouldn't say that they're completely solved, but they're better.
Yeah, I'm not relying on a 33-year-old Flyer cast off to, kind of mend my goaltender's situation, but there really ain't much else to work with. But like I said, it's just a pleasant surprise, but it kind of looks like they're going to fade back and just miss out this year. So, damn. So, as of right now, if the playoffs start today, we're looking at Tampa, Toronto, Montreal, the Islanders, Capitals, Blue Jackets as your division winners. Then the Bruins and the Penguins as the wild cards. You'll have Buffalo, Carolina, kind of on the outside looking in, and somehow not dead, the Rangers and the Panthers. So it's going to be a fun second half with as many teams kind of bundled up this way. And like I said, we still have the trade deadline to go. Any second half predictions?
I'm gonna say Anaheim sells the farm if they don't start winning, because I think that. Huh?
I selling the farm, man. I don't know, because can you convince someone to take Ryan Getzlaf at almost $9 million? Can you take someone to?
You don't sell those guys. Who you're gonna have to sell is the Rickard Racks and those guys that are. I mean, you already got rid of Andrew Calderano, so that may have started the initiating of the end. But also, I don't understand how Carlisle has not gotten fired yet.
He's like those people we would work with at Nike that would just like, you know what, I'm just not going to do anything until they say something.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what I'm. So Ricky Rax may be out of there. Silverberg is probably out of there. Nick Ritchie's probably out of there. You've got to. I mean, Jesus Christ! Like, I mean, you signed a guy named Del Zotto. Like, get the hell out of here.
Michael Del Zaster, who was a acquisition. Yeah. Hey, you can't trade these guys, man. It's the new year. All those Disney passports just renewed. You can't get that money back.
It's okay. They can probably just keep the apartment address that they have in freaking Santa Ana and just keep making monthly payments.
Driving from Santa Ana to Anaheim every day for your games? Oof. Come on, they just built all those nice condos in Anaheim.
Yeah, but they're who knows? Maybe they get sent down to San Diego at the goals.
I still don't even know where they play. I think they play at a casino down here.
I think no, they play like by SeaWorld.
Still couldn't tell you where.
It's driven past the arena.
It's not because I just don't.
They play at the Pechanga Arena in San Diego. Pechanga is a casino. Yeah, I know that, but it's not by a casino.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like right on the intersection of the 5 and the 8. No?
Yep, no, it's not doing it for me.
It's kind of by Old Town.
Okay, I know where Old Town is, so.
Yeah, it's like on the other side of the 5 in Old Town. There's apparently a Target across the street from
it. Well, sir, any other bold predictions for oh wait, you already said the Ducks are having a fire sale. What's my bold prediction?
Yeah, it's not having a fire sale as the Sharks.
Not everyone can have a clearance sale, Alex.
Was the state income tax?
I would say, I really can't think of one exactly.
I know. I'll say one. Alex Ovechkin blows up the Washington Capitals locker room and says, "You're all idiots. Just start doing exactly what I do."
No, don't. Just give me the puck. We're going back to this. I got my cup. Now I need Gretzky's records. Yeah, that's all I really got right now.
Okay. Alrighty. And then I don't know, man. This trade deadline is gonna be nutty.
We got like a little over a month to get there. Like I said, Wayne Simmons, I think, is going to be on the move. If he ends up in Boston, please, PLZ, please, 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 please.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that move. I think excuse me, Winnipeg may try to get him. Imagine that line. That's pretty awesome. I'm also going to say that it is very possible for Nashville to get him. I think Nashville, that's a possibility there. I think Michael Furland is also on the way out. And I will say that I do think that that the Hurricanes GM is going to make a really good trade for Michael Furland. I don't know where he's going to go, but I have a feeling that the Canes are sending Furland somewhere else.
We shall see, sir. So good talking hockey again. Let's not wait.
Yeah,
let's not wait.
Felt good. Let's not do that. That was not fun. Guys, you know where to find us on the tweets, on the Instagrams. Bleach Preach Pod on Twitter. Instagram is Bleacher Preacher Podcast. I swear that I'm going to start tweeting more from our account, so follow us. Also, my personal Twitter is RonCal33BPP. John's is Jonathan_A. And then shout out to Aunt Jen for following the show today.
You bozos.
Yeah, bozos. And other than that, yeah, Super Bowl preview. All right, guys. See you later.
Peace.